Hello. Today we'll be taking a look at NegaDuck number 1, which is the spin-off series of Dynamite's Darkwing Duck comic line. It was written by Jeff Parker, with interior art by Ciro Cangialosi, and the main cover being done by Joshua Middleton. Well, this issue's variant cover was done by Trish Forstner. The Darkwing Duck comic got off to a bit of a rocky start, but eventually started to find its footing later on. So we'll see how a new writer and a new artist will do. It starts off with the return of NegaDuck, who briefly showed up in the Darkwing Duck comic. And what is the first is this issue actually has a title, which is Goldfeather, which is an obvious James Bond reference. Now that NegaDuck is back, he's excited to plan his next big caper that'll put him on the map and make him public enemy number 1. But he soon discovers that a bunch of the minor characters are already enacting variations of his plan, as well as his former associates, the Fearsome Four, which is Liquidator, Megavolt, Quackerjack, and Bushroot. Frustrated and dejected, he eventually stumbles upon Hammerhead Hannigan and his gang, and then follows them to their boss, Taurus Bulba. Which this is where we find out what's going to be the main through line for this issue's searching for King Midas's magical gauntlet, which can turn anything into gold. Now that we have a basic overview of the story, well, I'd say this comic gets off to a much than Darkwing Duck number 1. The art is very consistent from start to finish. The characters are fairly expressive right off the bat. We have a good mix of the popular characters as well as also more obscure characters. There is a coherent storyline that's being followed from beginning to end. It also does a better job of capturing the tone and feel of the original Darkwing Duck cartoon show. Like how NegaDuck is always monologuing to himself, which is something he did all the time in the original show. And there aren't very many negatives that really come to mind. One of the only really negatives is that there isn't really a lot of attempts at jokes. This comic is more story heavy than it is gag and joke heavy. But this does get off to a good start, and the tease for the next issue is also very intriguing as well. While I would have preferred it if it would have gone more where each comic is its own standalone story, I am intrigued of where this is going to end up. So all in all, Jeff Parker and Ciro Cangialosi did an excellent job with NegaDuck number 1. And I would not be surprised if NegaDuck goes on to last longer than the main Darkwing Duck series. I highly recommend NegaDuck number 1, whether you've been following along with the Dynamite comic series, or if you just love NegaDuck. You don't really need to know a lot about the Dynamite Darkwing comics in order to understand this. Till next time, see ya.